Hey friends, today I will explain to you a 2014 romance drama movie named Fashion King. The movie starts with a high school boy getting beat up by his schoolmates one sunrise. As if still not delighted, the bullies then told him, whose name was Woo Ki Myung, to go to the shop and buy them breakfast. But before Ki Myung leaves, one of the bullies tells him to crawl over his legs. Ki Myung does as he's told, even though he ends up being watched by passersby. Even though some laugh and movie his annoying act. Then, Ki Myung runs to the nearest convenience store and buys food and drink for the young masters before heading off to school. But when he entered his classroom, he organized the bullies had been punished by their teacher in front of the class. The teacher then asks Ki Myung to come to the front of the class, and subsequently, he announces to all the students that Ki Myung will be transferring to a school in Seoul. On this day, Ki Myung bids farewell to his classmates. A few days later, Ki Myung and his family shifting into their new apartment. And when he brought his home things there, he bumped into a girl named Yoon Jin, his new neighbor in the apartment complex. She seems like a friendly girl, and she then greets Ki Myung warmly. But for some reason, Ki Myung bluntly says that Yoon Jin is ugly. No doubt, hearing his foolish words, his mother immediately reprimanded him. His mother then chats with Yoon Jin, and from their short chat, she discovers out that Yoon Jin is the top student at her school. But Ki Myung doesn't care. Without another word, he proceeded on his way to the apartment. The next day, Ki Myung onsets his first day at his new school, and he instantly runs into Yoon Jin in the lobby. But unexpectedly, she invites him to take a photo with her because his mother asked Yoon Jin to send photo evidence that Ki Myung really did go to school. After school, while Ki Myung is walking down the corridor, he sees a beautiful girl who has afraid him, Park Hae-jin. She is the most popular girl in school, and her glamour can even make students crowd in front of the elevator she is riding in. But no one dares to enter the same elevator as her, except for the transfer student Ki Myung. Meanwhile, outside the school, the girls excitedly welcome the appearance of the school's prince, Kim Won-ho. The crowd screams hysterically even more after his girlfriend, Hae-jin, comes out of the college building and meets him. People do think of them as a perfect couple. As if realizing that he has no opportunity, Ki Myung walks away. But just as he walked a few steps, he was intercepted by Hae-jin's bodyguard, who accused him of being presumptuous for daring to approach Hae-jin. And for that, Ki Myung must be beaten. Luckily, Won-ho prevents the guard's misbehavior. Subsequently Ki Myung returns home and decides to browse the internet using his laptop. And that's when he found a shopping site that sells trendy clothes. He instantly asked his mother to buy him some clothes without wasting any time. His mother didn't mind. She is even moved because this is the first time Ki Myung has asked her to buy him something. A few days later, he came to school wearing a jacket he had bought from the shopping site, or instead bought by his mother. But that can't prevent him from becoming a target for school thugs. He is pulled over and carried by a delinquent, Chang-ju, to a deserted place, where Chang-ju asks him to hand over his money. But suddenly, Chang-ju realizes that he's wearing the same jacket as Ki Myung. They even bought it from the same shop. After discussing their jackets for a while, they understood they were buying imitations. Angry at being cheated on, they decided to go directly to the shop. But the shop looks deserted. There was no one to greet them, even after they had shouted and banged on the door. After a while, a man came and unlocked the lock of the shop. He is the shop owner, Kim Nam-yoon. Ki Myung and Chang-ju then follow Nam-yoon, and there they complain about their jackets turning out to be fakes before Ki Myung finally asks for his money back. But rather of complying with their demands, Nam-yoon invites the two of them to come with him to the city's bustling center, where many fashion shops line up. It turns out that Nam-yoon is a famous figure. Numerous people laud him as soon as they see him. Impressed by Nam-yoon's fame, Kim Young and Chang Ju ask him to hire them at his shop. They are even willing to do any work if appointed as his workers. Namyoon grants their wish. The next day, they begin working at Namyoon's place. There they get some training, conduct a photo shoot, and exercise together to shape their bodies to be more ideal. Like professional models. A few days later, their school held an event to crown the fashionable students. The students greeted him exuberantly. They make up for themselves with whatever they think makes them look fashionable. However, when Won-ho and Hae-jin appeared, the whole school was instantly captivated by their appearance. They understood that none of them could match the pair. But the attention the duo gets only lasts a moment because next, Kim Young enters the arena in a unique style. Everyone instantly gathered around him, commenting on the scene before them. Numerous days had passed since that event. In the middle of cleaning the classroom, Kim Young gets a message from an unknown number asking him to come to the auditorium. Out of curiosity, he rushed there, but he found no one in the end. Just as he was about to leave, the mysterious figure reached. It was none other than Hae-jin. She calls Kim Young there to tell him that tomorrow is her birthday, and she wants him to come to celebrate her birthday party. She even gave him her contact number. The next night, Kim Young comes to Hae-jin's party. At the festivity, where Kim Young is the only man invited, he sings her a birthday song before giving her a present. But Kim Young isn't the only man to give her a present. On the way home after the party was over, Hae-jin met Won-ho, congratulating her and giving her a present. Sometime later, the school held a sports celebration, and all the students wore tracksuits. Kim Young and Won-ho are no exception. They even added extra accessories to their uniforms, making them the center of attention. Generally, they were later called to the teacher's room and punished for daring to hold a fashion show in the middle of a sporting event. After giving them the punishment, the teacher unexpectedly tells Won-ho that his father called the school and reported that he will be changing schools. Still angry, the teacher then tells Won-ho that if he intends to change schools, he should do it right away instead of causing chaos in the school. Later that darkness, Won-ho stalks Hae-jin's social media to see who people commented on her posts. And that's when he finds Kim Young's account. Then he opens it and finds information that Kim Young works at a shop that sells fake clothes. As if not wanting to waste his opportunity, the next day Won-ho visits the shop where Kim Young and Chang Ju work. He confessed that he wanted to shop, even though his real purpose was to insult them for selling fake clothes. He's an enormous success because Kim Young and Chang Ju are furious at his insults. And they get even angrier after Won-ho throws the money on the floor without taking a single thing home. Not long after, when Nam-young is alone in the shop, he is arrested and taken to the police station on charges of selling counterfeit goods. Upon hearing of their mentor's arrest, Kim Young and Chang Ju rush to the police station to check it out. But luckily, Nam-young has just spent a few days at the police station. Once free, he goes straight to Won-ho and invites him to talk on the deserted roof. He knows Won-ho reported him to the police, and Won-ho doesn't deny it either. Nam-young, of course, is angry at Won-ho's actions because after all he suffered a considerable loss. But Won-ho lightly offers to make up for the loss, no matter how much he has to pay. Feeling his pride trampled on, Nam-young reacts to Won-ho's offer by punching him. But Won-ho's bodyguard doesn't stand still watching his master being beaten. He beat Nam-young so painfully that Nam-young had to be taken to the hospital. Kim Young and Chang Ju then visit Nam-young at the hospital. In front of the unconscious Nam-young, they vow to take revenge on Won-ho. The following day at school, the first thing Kim Young does is look for Won-ho. He manages to find him and immediately asks why he attacks Nam-young. But while they're talking, all the students at school receive a mysterious video on their phones, and so does Kim Young. The video contained Kim Young when he was bullied by students at his former school. In an instant, the gazes of everyone around Kim Young turned to him. Some people peeked at him with pity, but not a few who looked at him with disgust. As if finding a golden opportunity, Won Ho's bodyguards then beat up and insult Ki Myung, calling him a loser. The provocation goes smoothly because a moment later, Hae-jin joins in calling Ki Myung a loser. The following day, Ki Myung thinks about transferring to another school. But then, Chang-ju and Namyoon come to stop him. They argued that he might meet someone else who would expose his old disgrace even if he changed schools. That's why Ki Myung can't keep running away. After thinking for an eternity, Ki Myung senses that there is the truth behind what his two friends say. After that, Ki Myung watches a TV show that reports about Fashion King, the upcoming fashion modeling event. Ki Myung is interested in the event since Won Ho will also be participating. Ki Myung then instantly goes to Nam Young at his shop to ask him to train him to be a model because he will follow Fashion King. And so began the training session. Apart from fashion, Namyoon trains Ki Myung by teaching him about bodybuilding. Eventually, the day came when the Fashion King was held. Many participants took part in the event, but as usual, Won Ho was again the center of attention. In the first round, the participants' bodies will be measured. Based on the results, they will then be assessed whether they deserve to be a model. Ki Myung can pass this round without any major difficulties because he has an ideal body. Of the hundreds of participants who took part in the first round, only 21 participants passed. In the next round, the participants had to choose a suit that matched their clothes, resulting in a fashionable hybrid. Without a doubt, Won Ho passed this round, considering that he is well versed in fashion. But when it's Ki Myung's turn, he panics because he doesn't know what to choose. After all, he still doesn't really understand fashion. Namyoon had to give him advice, intimately, of course. But sadly, before Ki Myung can choose, his time is up. So he was forced to choose a suit at random, and coincidentally the suit he chose looked strange and unique. When he came out and appeared before the judges, they were astonished at his appearance. They think Ki Myung has succeeded in bringing out a new fashion feel, an entirely unique idea. They all agree that Ki Myung deserves to advance to the following stage. After the event, Ki Myung heads to Namyoon's shop. But while he was alone waiting for the others, Yoon-jin suddenly came, and with a very different appearance. Unlike the reaction when they first met, now Ki Myung compliments her appearance. Moments later, Chang-ju and Namyoon arrive, and the four of them celebrate Ki Myung's victory. But while they were toasting, the delegates from the organizers of Fashion King came to bring the dresses to be used in the following round. Meanwhile, Won Ho asks his father for permission to let him participate in a fashion show competition one last time. But his father refuses, as he wants Won Ho to transfer schools as soon as probable. Won Ho, however, is just as adamant. He still plans to compete in the competition until it's finished. On the day of the ultimate round, participants were given the theme of dating. The participants had to ask women out and put on the dresses that were previously given to them. This round's result is that Won Ho and Ki Myung qualify for the final. Only the two of them were the remaining participants. A staff member then explained that in the ultimate round, the theme to be used was the only thing in my life. So, the participants must barter one item that they have. The next day, Ki Myung receives a note from Won Ho, while Won Ho gets a school uniform from Ki Myung. Ki Myung himself has to buy the clothes he must wear for the ultimate round. But because Won Ho's nominal money is very small, he decides to buy second-hand clothes, which he plans to raise so to look like luxurious clothes. Chang-ju, Yoon-jin, and Nam-hyung stopped up sewing the clothes for Ki Myung, to the point that they were so exhausted after doing it. While the three of them are asleep, Ki Myung then tries on the clothes and observes his impression in the mirror. It is at this moment that Yoon-jin wakes up. She then goes to Ki Myung and compliments him on his appearance. Ki Myung reacts by thanking her before finally confessing his feelings while hugging her from behind. In the ultimate round, Won Ho was ready to go on stage the next day. However, Ki Myung still hasn't arrived, and even the staff gets worried that Ki Myung doesn't pick up the phone. As it turns out, Kim Young was snatched as he walked toward the event venue. The thief on the motorbike takes Kim Young's bag and drives off. But Kim Young desperately attempts to reclaim his bag because he keeps the clothes he's going to wear tonight in the bag. In the end, he managed to reclaim his bag, although to do so, he was dragged quite a distance, which resulted in him getting injured. On the other hand, Won Ho is asked to sing on stage because the committee can't wait forever for Kim Young. Kim Young himself still goes to the location, even though his body is now covered in wounds and blood. His body was getting weaker so that when he reached at the location, he could only sit outside. He was very tired and in pain, but luckily, not long after, Yoon Jin and a staffer happened to find him. The staff then informs his boss of Kim Young's arrival, though it's difficult for him to appear on stage because of his injuries. Seeing Kim Young's severe condition, people crowd around him, as does the cameraman. His mother also eventually found him. While crying, he tries his best to persuade Kim Young to go to the hospital quickly. But he kept refusing, as if realizing Kim Young's determination. Nam Young then prepares the clothes at hand before helping Kim Young put them on. Once everything is ready, Kim Young limps toward the room where the final event is taking place. At the end of the movie, Kim Young eventually confronts Won Ho and returns the money he gave him. It turns out that Kim Young didn't use the money at all. The MC then asks Won Ho to come back, and he walks away with a look of defeat. Since the winners of Fashion King are decided based on their outfits and how they walk on stage, Kim Young then goes up the stage and walks across it to the audience's cheers. As he acts on stage, he thinks that he is not a loser now like he used to be. He is the winner of Fashion King. And the end. If you are a lover of similar content like this, take a look at my distinct videos, and if you love it, please break the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification horn. Catch sight of you in the successive video.